Hi, this is your host Shubham Tiwari, and I welcome you to Education Plus, a show brought to you by Wonder Published Magazine, where we try to bring in the institutional perspective to the discourse around education and, more importantly, education technology. Our today's guest is Kavita Sangvi, principal at CNM School. Ms. Kavita Sangvi is an educationist with over 20 years of experience in the education sector. She has worked with various leading schools in the meantime, and in 2016-17, she was enlisted in the top 50 global teachers by Varkey Foundation. She's a Teach SDG ambassador, Scientix ambassador, teacher trainer, curriculum designer, developer, a lifelong learner. Welcome to Underpublished Magazine, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So speaking of change, how was this whole experience, this pandemic?
I think the change has been good in one way because education really needed an overhaul, needed a change, and the pandemic really got everybody, really studying themselves, understanding themselves, and then retransforming themselves. So yes, it has been a complete change.
Wonderful. So as I just told in the introduction that you have been in this education sector for more than 20 years now. You started with the same school, right?
Yes.
Where you are principal now. So
Yes.
Tell us about this journey, because not many people, not many teachers stay with one school and continue to rise in the hierarchy.
So I started the journey with the school in 2001 as a teacher, and in 2002 I got promoted as a coordinator for maths and science, and in 2002 I also became a mother.
Oh, wow.
That was one thing. So my son also started studying in till 2008. We were here. I was here. When my son came into the first standard, I realized that either I need to move out, or he needs to move out, because we cannot be in the same school together.
Right.
So then, since the school is so fantastic, I moved out. And I then joined MRV Metro Shikar Vidyalaya as a vice principal and moved on to be a principal. In 2018, my son finished his 10th standard year, and the earlier principal was retiring. So they said, "Do you want to come back?" And I said, "Yes." And then I came back.
Okay. So were you concerned with the studies of, your son, or was it some conflict of interest you were trying to avoid?
I think the conflict of interest, I feel like, with the mother and son together, my son would be seen as Kavita's son, but he wouldn't have his own identity. So I didn't want anybody to know that he is my son and he is, any kind of favors or any kind of other things coming across to him. Right. He should be able to figure it out himself.
Right. So when did exactly you take this leap from, being an educator to an administrator?
So in 2012, as I said, 2009, I became a vice principal at Metro Shikar Vidyalaya. So my administration job. 2012, right. I took over as principal. In 2013, I was a principal. And then since then, I have been a principal of a school.
Which role have you enjoyed more, of being an educator or administrator?
I think because I teach also, and I'm also administrator, I enjoy a dual role. Because earlier when you were a teacher, if you want to do something else, you need to take permission.
Okay.
And the right person needs to understand that you are trying to be different. But as a principal now, as a teacher, if I want to go to class and do something different, nobody stops me.
Freedom that comes with that. That's wonderful.
Freedom that comes with it, yes.
So you call yourself a lifelong learner, ma'am. So I would ask you, what are the new things that you learned during this pandemic? And in what ways your role as principal expanded?
Okay. So obviously, like everybody else, we were thrown into that entire uncertainty and ambiguity. But I started studying the online platform. So we went on to MS Teams. I think I really studied it thoroughly to take an orientation with my teachers and training across that. Not only that, I started studying about how to take assessments, how to connect with the students, connect with the teachers. Then I must have watched around 100 to 200 webinars up to all this time. Because when experts from everywhere are speaking, that's where you learn. So you just, even a one-liner which comes out from there can help you. So I listen to everybody who talks across and then note down the points. That's what's helping me. I also take a lot of online MOOC courses. So and I think from scientifics, I took about STEM is everywhere, then the 3 Rs, so many MOOC courses I took across, and then used those MOOC courses in my teaching across here to share all these things. Also, I started with the research work in our students online. So my students, e-books and e-posters. So
e-posters. Okay.
And now my students and teachers have taken it up.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Can you tell us, tell our audience about e-posters? Because this is a new term for many,
yeah.
I'm sure.
So, e-posters and e-books, what happened is now whenever we do research, like we had research recently on with my students is space tourism. So suppose you be going to Mars and you are having a tourism out there, how would it look like? How would your clothes be like? How would the food be like? How would your party be like? So they started creating community of people on Mars and seeing how it is. And then all this they recorded on an ebook. So you go to a platform and you work on an ebook and write down your entire, say, life on Mars clothes, life on Mars food, and then with particular photographs and everything, and then they present it on the platform. So I can share many of our ebooks and e-posters. Posters are the same thing as ebook.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And you spoke about, attending many webinars. So you must have learned many, and you have done many courses as well, MOOC courses. So can you tell us about new programs that you implemented at your school?
Okay, so there are so many new programs that we are definitely doing. So last year, we started with the entire climate action project across the whole school from senior KG to 10th standard. We believe that is so important. We were doing a lot of environment things in school, but offline, online, nothing. So entire curriculum of 3 to 4 weeks of climate action project, we started. That is, we took it from Koen Timmers at Belgium, and then we connected with the entire world through that. So we had a lot of coordination and programs from there.
Okay.
We were doing coding, but now we started going into coding into competitions across India. We were already doing a subject called Global Outlook, where we connected people across the world and have our academic and curriculum sharing across the world. But we went further into it with ebooks and e-posters. So as I said, a lot of new things have come in, and now this year a STEM program.
Okay.
Last year's STEM program is the word I coined, history with STEM.
Okay.
So everything that is STEM has a history. For example, this pen, there's a history behind it.
Correct.
So you need to know the history. So that's how you teach children history. So this high STEM this year is Space and Beyond. It's a 1 week project where we've also connected with ISRO and having their virtual tour of ISRO happening for our students. So a lot of things coming across, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And we are living in, such exciting times that people like Jeff Bezos have already started going to the space. So I'm sure in our lifetime, people will start, going commercially to the space. So it's a wonderful perspective building exercise. So speaking about you, ma'am, as I told in the introduction, that you were enlisted as the top 50 global teachers. So my question to you is, how can a good teacher become a great teacher?
First of all, a good teacher is, and she wants to become more, is someone who has a very open mind. And if somebody is offering criticism, that person is taking the criticism positively.
Right.
That is the most important thing, that if someone has criticized me, I need to take it positively. That is what's going to change your perspective and your standing across. You just stay away and say, oh, let this person speak, whatever it is, it's not going to work.
Right.
So that is something. Second, continuously keep on joining some new courses. All the time, whatever is new coming in, new in the market, enlist yourself, join in and experiment. Experimentation is another very important aspect of becoming a great person. And third is communicate. Right. You need to make sure whatever you do, you are sharing it with the community, because it's not you alone who has to grow. It has the whole community when grows, then you automatically get elevated.
Correct. So much, to expand on and keep an open mind. So that's right. So, I mean, a lot of reports nowadays that are coming out, both from the government agencies and other watchdogs, they're saying that since education is, more about socio-human, development, and there is human element which is missing, because kids are not, they're not learning from each other. The peer learning is missing. So how do you, plan to rekindle that peer learning and team spirit if you want to call it, once they start coming back to schools?
So that is something that we really need to take care of. But Shubham, we have done this even on online. Like the last period is only collaboration work among students, where they sit in teams and work on it. There's no team-directed class at all. But when they come back to school, first of all, getting them reacquainted with the school environment, the physical environment. Because right now, nicely they switch on that lesson and they must have gone back to sleep. But now come back and stay awake. Come back and be observed by our teacher so discreetly and all these things. So start getting them involved in the school environment, letting them, certain values that they have, imbibed along the way. So I say that it's okay you do an online cheating here or there. We need to work a lot on that aspect also. So these things we have kept in mind, and we have ensured that we've got respective people coming in also to talk to them. We have a lot of activities for having them, because we're not going to focus more on curriculum, but we're going to focus more on mental health this time, emotional bonding this time. That's what we're looking at.
Oh, wonderful. And speaking of connecting with students, are you also running any mental health programs? Because kids may be going through a lot of stress because they don't meet their friends.
Exactly. So even we have two full-time counselors, we have two full-time special educators, and they right now also today, my counselors go to the students' homes even today.
Oh, they go wonderful.
So that connection is happening. In certain cases where we feel the case is severe, we ask the parent to bring the child to school and talk to the counselor also.
Right.
So these are some things that we really need. We also have a very, very good speaker coming in every 2 months to talk to our students. We have Mayank Solanki coming in speaking, and he's amazing. Okay. So we have people coming in and talking and giving them values to stories. Like once we had them talk about Mahabharata and Ramayana. Okay. So from the stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata, you take the learnings away.
Right.
So we don't say that, this is the way it is. We tell them what people have gone through and what we can take back, and let the students decide it for themselves.
That's wonderful, ma'am. You're providing that space, that freedom to think.
The stories itself will drive you. Nothing else needs to be done.
That's wonderful, ma'am. So, I mean, as you just told that people are going and speaking with kids, counselors. So the blended learning, how's it going to look? Because the online solutions are here to stay. They are here, but schools have to open up and kids have to meet each other. So where do you see this going?
So I just recently took a workshop on blended learning, types of blended learning, and you won't believe there are thousands of types of blended learning. Okay. But we have crossed certain things that we can do in our school. And we know that in our school, we can use something called a station blended learning, where within the classroom, we will have a class split up into 3 groups. For example, one group is with the teacher, one is doing collaborative work, and one is doing online work. So we are thinking of those kind of systems for blended to come in. Also, we have another system called flipped classroom, where you give some work done at home, study, and then come back and do the questions and all that. So flipped is another strategy we're looking at. Another thing we're looking at is mastery and individualized. That means whatever topic the student is doing, they go back home and do a research and in that study in that, that is a mastery over that respective topic. So the basic is done in school, but the mastery is done at home over online. So we're going to use various types of blended learning to ensure that the students are competent enough.
That's wonderful. That's so great to hear. So lastly, I would ask you, any message you'd like to give to your students, or anything you wanted to talk about and I didn't ask you? You can do that now.
No, I just feel that, this year, I think the students have been phenomenal. Just imagine a child sitting at home and taking lessons through and then giving an exam and giving that respective exam. These are the years where they enjoy those classrooms. Correct. And they are the ones who are sitting and accepted and, not even complaining that much. So I feel hats off to those children, and we need to learn from them what resilience is all about.
Absolutely.
So they become our teachers and we become our learners and take from them.
Absolutely. We should give them credit for being disciplined and being so, understanding of the situation. And that's wonderful. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.